Okay, so we're going to talk about our lesson today and go over the homework. And remember, we're talking about perimeter, simplifying and evaluating expressions, and that's a geometry connection. And we defined a couple of terms. Perimeter, the continuous line forming the boundary of a closed geometric figure. So the perimeter is a continuous line forming the boundary of a closed geometric figure. Closed means that it has no openings, like this one right here. Polygon, a multi-sided closed geometric figure, the smallest of which is a three-sided polygon called a triangle. Okay, so that's the smallest polygon, and then they go up from there. A four-sided polygon is called a quadrilateral, and quadrilaterals include trapezoids, rectangles, rhombi, squares, a bunch of different ones that we'll look at, and you'll look at more next year. So you can see right here we have a rectangle. How do we know it's a rectangle? Because the opposite sides in a rectangle have the same length. So you can see the top of this and the bottom are both 7, and the sides are both 3. That constitutes a rectangle. Now, it could also be a couple of other things, but because it makes 4 right angles here, that also indicates that we have a rectangle. Okay, so the perimeter of the rectangle, remember, perimeter is what you get when you add up the lengths of all those sides is 7 plus 7 plus 3 plus 3. Another way we can write that is 7 times 2, because they're 2 sides of 7, and they're 2 sides of 3. So either way, whether you use this way or this way, you're going to get 14 for the top and the bottom, and you're going to get 6 for the total lengths of the sides, and that means that the length of the entire perimeter is equal to 20 units. And we call it units because we don't know whether they're inches or feet or miles or centimeters. We don't know that, so we just have to give it a name of units. So let's look at the first one here. Now remember, this associates to what we've been looking at as far as writing expressions and simplifying them, and that goes right into this lesson. So if we look at the sides here, let's go clockwise, and we'll start with the first side being a minus 1. Okay, so that's one of the sides, and if we go clockwise, our next one is a plus 3. Okay, that's our next side, and we have 2 more sides. This is a quadrilateral, a 4-sided figure. The next side is 3a minus 3, and the last side is 2a minus 8. Oop. Now you can see, guys, the only reason I put them in parentheses is so you can clearly see the 4 sides. Parentheses aren't really needed here. We're not putting parentheses next to each other, so we're not doing any multiplying or anything. It's just a way of being able to identify the 4 sides. So there's 1 side, 2 sides, 3 sides, and 4 sides. But you can clearly see that we can definitely simplify this. We definitely have some like terms here. There's an a term, there's another a term, another a term, and another a term. So if we talk about just the a's, how many a's do we have here? 1a, 2a, and 3 more a's makes 5a, and 2 more makes 6. That looks like 7a. Let's try it again. 5, 6, 7 a's. Okay? So we got all our a terms. Now we just have to look at our constant terms. Well, we can see that this is a minus 1. Minus 1 plus 3 is 2. Okay? And then we take away 3. That's a negative 1. And we take away 8 more. That would be a minus 9. Okay, so once again, if we put all the negatives together first, we get minus 1, minus 3, that's minus 4, and another minus would give us minus 12. Minus 12 plus 3 gives us that minus 9. Okay, so there's our simplified expression. We can't get more simplified than that. And that's all they asked you to do here was simplify the expression. In question number 2, they asked you to take a little further. They said, use your simplified expression to calculate the perimeter of the figure above if a equals 4 inches. So at this point, we're going to take our simplified, let me pull it back out so you can see it. We're going to take our simplified expression there, and we are going to do some substituting. All right, so if we substitute this, I don't know why it's doing that, but okay, we'll do it again. If we substitute, remember now a is going to be substituted with a quantity 4. So the a is gone, substituted with a quantity of 4. And now what we have to do is evaluate and simplify. So 7 times 4 is 28. 28 minus 9. Okay, 28 minus 9 gives us what? 28 minus 9 gives us 19. Now, the only thing we have to remember here is that 19, let me just pull this out for a minute so we can get our worksheets up there. Yeah, so 19 inches, right? We're talking about inches here, so we have to put that on the back. Okay, it's 19 inches. All right, and there we go. 19 inches is our perimeter. So that's the perimeter if A equals 4. Now, if A equals 5, obviously that perimeter is going to be bigger. If A equals 3, it's going to be smaller. At some point, if we made this like A equals 1, we could see 1 minus 1. A couldn't equal 1 because then this side would measure 0, and that's impossible. Okay, so that's something to think about when you evaluate. Make sure that that number that you're using actually works. Okay, so what should we do? Hey, let's go on to the second one. See what we got here. So we're going to use, this time we have a triangle. Triangles we know have 3 sides. Okay, so we do have 3 sides. The first side is x plus 2. And the second side here is 3x. And the third side here is 2x plus 1. So we have all 3 sides. Let me just, for consistency, we'll do that so you can really see all 3 sides. And remember, perimeter means we add those sides together. Let's blow this up a little bit so we can look at it a little bit better now that we have our 3 sides. Now we're going to combine like terms. That's how you simplify. So let's see what we got here. We've got, let me just clean that up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier for you to read. Okay. So we've got the first side, x plus 2. The second side is 3x. And the third side is 2x plus 1. And if we're going to simplify those, we have x, 3 more x's, and 2 more x's. So altogether, that's how many? That's 6 x's. Okay. 1, 4, 5, 6. Now we've got to put together our constants. Well, we have 2, nothing there, and a 1 there. 2 plus 1 is 3. So there's our simplified expression, 6x plus 3. And that's all we had to do for this one was to simplify it. So our simplified expression is 6x plus 3. But the next question asks us to use that and to do what with it? To find the perimeter when x equals 5. Okay, when x equals 5. So we're going to replace that x with 5. Right? And that's just our substitution. That's all we got to do there. So 6 times 5 is what? 6 times 5 is 30 plus 3 equals 33. And this time we can see over, it's still there on our left. We're talking about centimeters. So this would be 33 centimeters. And that's it. We're done. Okay, that's all we had to do to evaluate it was to make it 33